Hello, and welcome to the first ever podcast episode of The Ramblers. Lovely to have you all listening today. I'm your host, Charlie Pearson. This is my lovely co-host, Sophie Nichols. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Sophie. Excited to start off our first episode.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, would you like to take us through what our main topic is?
So today, the first half, we're going to be looking at democratisation of media and specifically focusing on the industries and how they'll be affected by democratisation, and about influencers. Are they the latest iteration of celebrities?
And then after that, we're going to go for a short break. And then when we return, we're going to have our guest, Mark Edwards, joining us. Lovely Mark Edwards. And he's going to be joining us for our game show, Read the Ramblers. And it is copyrighted.
And then in the final section, we are going to be talking about conspiracy theories. But we appreciate all your opinions, so please go check out our Instagram and
leave your own comments on what you think about the conspiracy theories. We'd love to hear them.
So, democratisation of media, just as an outline, is basically how our democracy, specifically in the UK, is essentially taking over media, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say it's also the public's influence over media in this day and age as well.
Yeah, and because of the advancement in technology, you're able to create a lot more from your own phone, from home. Nowadays, anything's possible.
Yep.
So the main two topics we're going to be discussing within democratisation of media is how, as I said, industries are affected by it.
Should we start off with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So.
Well, I myself am for these new style media outlets. So creating creative media from home, online news, everything like that. I don't particularly use old media outlets. I'd say I only use a few.
Where do you get your news from? Do you get that from your phone as well?
I do. BBC News is usually the main one.
Yeah. So that's interesting because obviously BBC is a production company that, even though we as a generation are evolving in terms of how media is shown, the BBC have seemed to stuck with it throughout the whole thing. I think they're someone who won't suffer.
I think they've been so successful because they've adapted with the times.
Yeah.
If we look back, we had the BBC on the radio, their news. Then we had them coming onto TV.
Yeah.
But now, this new generation, they don't really watch normal TV. It's more streaming services. So TV isn't really switched on. So
I've noticed when you watch a show on the BBC nowadays, after they say, "Oh, this is now streaming on BBC iPlayer," they never used to do that as much. So they are trying to keep with the times, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. But as you say, many people will view the news from their phone.
Yeah.
So you say you're for the new methods. Do you still appreciate the old methods?
I think they have their place in history.
Yeah.
And I think they should stick around. Like, I'll use print media for an example. Back in the legacy media time, it was everything printed out, newspapers, selling millions of copies, and that's obviously gone down quite significantly now. And a lot of print media companies have moved fully online to release their information to keep up with the times. So I prefer that. Because,
do you think people like journalists will struggle?
I think when it first started, and I think there was a lot more worry about it because a lot of people thought this is going to take over fully now, and we're going to be run out. I think it was viewed as a lot worse as it was, but I think people have started to adapt to it now, and journalists can still do their job because all this news is still on the TV, still released in papers, but articles are also released on newspaper sites.
It will start to decline,
online.
won't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I personally think that I'm for. I'm not against the rise of all this new media and the new method of consumption, but I think I am still very for quite old-fashioned, I suppose. I think a big budget, big companies, I think collaboration is such a big, important aspect to creating any media product. And I think that if we all go to creating content from home, even though we can because of the obviously technology, I still think it won't be created the same. It might not have the passion behind it as such, because there's a difference from working, I don't know, let's say within a news team and in meeting everyone and having all the equipment. I think there's something about the setup as well that excites me personally. And I feel like if everyone moves over to this new consumption and new way of creating things, they'll miss out on quite a lot. So, but I still think that people will, obviously it's rising for a reason.
Do you think, obviously we've just had 3 national lockdowns, over a year of a lot of people being stuck at home. Do you think, because obviously a lot of content has had to be created from home because of that, do you think people are now, as they've had to adapt to that style, do you think they're now going to stick with it, if that question makes sense, instead of go back to old media styles?
I think so. I think Staged is a good example. Again, a BBC production.
Yeah.
They couldn't do a play they wanted to do, so they decided to just keep rehearsing it online, and they made a TV show out of it. I think that alone, yes, they had the equipment by the BBC, but they had to operate it all themselves. I think that is a perfect example of something that had to be made from home, and there's many people that are doing that now. There's so many like new influencers and people that have like randomly showed up over lockdown. I think the advantages of working from home and creating your own content from home, like if you're a YouTuber, for example, you can set your own schedules, it's cheap as well because you're not having to hire people, you're not having to travel, but it could also be expensive.
Yeah, I think that leads quite nicely into rise of the influencer.
Yeah.
So what's your sort of opinions on the influencers? Do you see them as proper celebrities, or is it more of someone that isn't a proper celebrity?
I mean, celebrity, I think people... Oh my God, this chair. I think people think the definition of a celebrity is like an actor or a music artist or a TV presenter, when actually a celebrity is just someone famous and well-known for a type of work.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if you're a celebrity in the creative sector, you're much more well-known than you could be, I don't know, let's say you're the producer of the BBC, technically you are a celebrity, but you don't get recognised for that. So I think the rise of influencers is what people now associate with the latest iteration of celebrities, but I personally think that, yes, they are celebrities. And I think to become a celebrity, you succeed in your job. I think that's what's important to remember, and they have just succeeded in that career mainly because that's where all of our demographic or like our new generation is leading towards. Yeah.
See, unlike when the last topic we were talking about, I was very for the new sort of media outlets. On this, I sound slightly more old-fashioned. I can see, influencers. I'm talking about like TikTok influencers, Instagram, like model celebrity things. I wouldn't class them as celebrities, but that's because I don't particularly like them. I don't use TikTok myself. Very against it.
Yeah, because there's you got the bloke that sung Rum and Tea or something
like that. You've got those. I think it's D'Amelio sisters that are all famous now or something from TikTok.
No, but I think TikTok it's difficult because if they're successful through Instagram, which many people are influencers through mainly that platform, it's kind of like, well, why can't they be through TikTok as well? But TikTok's just, again, they've become successful in their job and what they want to do.
I think with this question, which is what I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments, it's all opinion based. So myself, I'm quite old fashioned. Instagram, like I said, Instagram celebrities and TikTok celebrities, all that stuff.
Although
I don't personally think they're celebrities, but I do know that they.
Why don't you think they're celebrities? Why?
I just think it's because I don't. Okay, so
what do you, who do you associate celebrity?
So the way I'm trying to word this is, I know that they're a celebrity because they have a lot of following.
It's a very high class word, isn't it? A celebrity. Yeah.
So I know that they are, but for myself, I don't see them as that. But that's because I don't follow them. I don't, actively. I'm not an active fan of them. So
that makes sense.
For myself, I wouldn't class them as that. Whereas I'm not quite fashion. Actors, directors, football players, all that stuff, I see as celebrities, but that's because that's what I'm interested in.
You follow
and
football.
I follow exactly.
But I think to kind of conclude everything, you can tell why we're the Ramblers.
Yeah.
Going back to our first thing, I think the reason why industries may suffer is because the rise, our new generation wants to become YouTubers, streamers, influencers.
Yeah.
I think because of that,
streamers. That's a really good, like Twitch.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Yeah, that's
so many people
on the rise, isn't it?
And
well,
a lot of people don't
is.
do it. There could be the aim to be successful, and obviously everyone wants that. But a lot of people, it's just a passion. Like it's what they love doing.
And I think that's what makes it. I think that's why it's so
successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's what everyone wants to do.
So do you think, if just going back to the first topic of challenging old media industries, do you think that's what it is then? People have more of a passion these days on these new outlets?
Now we can create it from home. People are like, I think before it was unreachable.
Yeah.
It was, you're at school, it's academic, businessy, and there's not much creative option. So I think before it was unreachable, but now it's like very accessible to get your hand. You can do it on your phone. Do you know what I mean? I think now we're able to do that. People are like, oh, I can actually do this. And I think that's why the more like the bigger companies will suffer, because less people will aspire to go to them when they can just, why would you want to work your way up a ladder of like job roles in a company when you can just go straight to the directing role or the acting role in your own mini company? Yeah.
But and I will make one point against that. Even though I am for it myself, I can see what the negatives on that of, if you started a YouTube channel back in...
I think you mean it's acknowledged as well.
Yeah. If you started a YouTube channel back in, let's say 2012, not many people on the platform, it was up and coming. If you started one there, it's highly likely, or more likely than, well, definitely more likely than now, that your video is going to be seen easier. Not as much stuff. It's
like Zoella. She's become, how many subscribers? She's got loads of PewDiePie.
He's like 70 mil,
PewDiePie as well.
Yeah. But as I've said, I do think many old media outlets are still adapting, and I think some can keep up the time. So I don't think radio is going to die out. A lot of people still listen to that in their cars, obviously. Television, a lot of people like light-hearted stuff. Yeah. And I think that's why things like Saturday Night TV or Place in the Sun or whatever will kind of... It's going to be a constant. It might not be as successful as it once was, but it's going to be constant
but it's still
throughout.
Going to be there. Yeah. I just think in the future, I think, and I hate to say it, the companies will suffer in terms of money, not getting as many people, because it's our current generation that is in charge of the industry's future. And they're not interested, unless you're a film fanatic or want to get into radio. They're not passionate.
It's a very harsh industry now because they have to make sure they're hiring the right people because
Yeah.
they have to make sure they get everything right now. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think our new generation is following the streaming, the influencer, because it's easy money.
Yeah.
And that's why the companies will suffer as well, because you have to have certain experience and certain skills, and that's why they'll suffer.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I think that's a really good place to stop off for our break.
Yeah, I agree. So join us after the break, where we'll be playing Read the Ramblers.
Again.
It's a new game for us too, so it'll be very interesting.
We will explain this, or I'll explain this when we come back. We'll have our amazing guest Mark joining us for it.
Is it my chair or is it
It's definitely your chair.
move? It's yours is the one squeaking. Here was me thinking it was me this whole
Hang
time.
on a minute, hang on. Sit still. Do yours. It is yours.
No, mine's squeaking. Yours was creaking.
Well,
See?
I'm sorry.
That was you.
Silent. Go on, do yours. Aha. Right. Welcome back after that short break, everybody. We're now joined by our wonderful guest, Mark Edwards. How
Hello.
are you, Mark?
How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, you?
Good.
Good. Right, now we're going to be playing our game, Read the Ramblers,
Ooh.
in which we're going to take turns to play music for our headphones, and someone else is going to pick a word out of our lovely hat, which has a word or phrase, which the person with the headphones on has to guess. And our genre for today is beer and cocktail drinks.
Lovely.
Right.
So, who would like to start us
Who
off?
wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Right. Put your music on, Mark.
Okay.
This is going to be interesting.
Oh, I think I've got a big one.
You got one. Shuffle them round. Right. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
No, that's
No.
good.
Right. The Big Labruski. Would you like it again? I gotta tell you, yeah. The Big Labruski. This is really going well.
Blue Wicked.
What are we saying? Three says and then
No,
Gotta give
you
up the
got to
point.
guess it.
the Big Labruski.
Right. The.
Sorry. Can't make out.
I think so.
This is brilliant. Right. The.
Yeah. The Big Labruski. I think he's going to forfeit the point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you got to forfeit the point then.
Yeah, I think my lip sync skills are terrible. My
it
lip
is.
reading skills.
The Big Labruski.
The Big Labruski.
Yeah.
Crazy. Wow.
Right.
We'll keep that one there. Should we go round
Let
clockwise?
Mark go again.
Mark goes
Okay.
again.
3 rounds
Ah,
each.
3 rounds each, of course. Ah, Jesus. Monty Python's Holy Grail.
He's got all the hard ones.
Monty Python's Holy Grail. Oh.
Do
No, I'm
word
not
by
getting this at
word.
all.
Do word by word.
Monty Python's Holy Grail.
God.
Oh, well, I'll have one more.
Go on.
Yeah, Monty Python's Holy Grail.
I thought I saw the word only.
Oh my God. That was so loud.
What are we saying? I think it might have to be
Go
another
on.
forfeit. Monty Python's Holy Grail.
Ah, so you-
GR with a GR.
I thought holy was only.
Only. Ah.
Interesting.
Right. We'll go round now. So, Charlie, do you want to put your
I
music
thought we were
on?
doing 3, weren't we?
Yeah, we can do that after.
Ah.
Right. Pick one for Charlie.
He's going to connect. There we go.
This is harder than I thought it would be, actually.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay. So, drunken sailor. That's drunken sailor.
Say it again.
Drunken sailor.
I thought I had
Yeah.
drunken sailor.
Yeah.
Hey.
Excellent.
I'm too good, you know.
Wow.
Oh man. Okay.
They're weird.
Okay, ready? Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear.
I got clue. One more.
Buzz Lightyear.
Spiced? I think that one might have to be a forfeit.
It was Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, this is hard, isn't it? Right.
Oh. I heard that through this.
That was loud. Go on.
Sourdough cocktail.
What?
Are these real?
Yeah. Just searched up weirdest cocktail names. Sour toe cocktail.
Cocktail.
What's the first word?
Oh.
So you've got the last one. Well done. Sour. Sour toe.
Sourdough cocktail.
Well done. Oh my god. Sex on the beach. Oh, like. Sex on the beach.
The.
Well done. Sex on the beach.
Sex on the beach.
Well done. 2 out of 2.
At least I'd actually heard of that one.
God, that was blew my ears out. Right, Mark.
Okay.
You got one more.
Okay.
Oh, this is horrific.
I thought it would be easier.
Yeah, same.
I think there's going to be a few audio
We're
problems.
currently Sophie on 2, me on 1, Mark on 0.
Right. Sand in the...
What?
Sand.
Sex.
Sand in the crack.
Something in the grave.
Oh, God. Sand in the crack. Sand in.
Yeah. Get the.
The.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crack.
Grave.
Crack. Crack.
Oh, I think we've got to call it there.
Sand in the crack. Hilarious.
Oh,
I say
God.
we give him a half point for that because he got it.
Yeah, he got 2
Well done.
words. Oh, this one's alright. Harvey Wallbanger. Harvey Wallbanger.
Harvey Headbanger.
Close.
Harvey Wallbanger.
Yes! Woo!
I actually knew that one. I had that before.
Right,
1.5. Well
Charlie, it's your turn.
That's just my time to get back on level with you now. Oh, heck, that was funny. Right,
Are
I'm
you
good
ready?
to go.
They're weird.
Okay, so stop, collaborate, glisten.
Stop,
Collaborate, glisten.
Say it again.
Collaborate.
One more time.
Collaborate.
Something 8.
Close.
Stop.
Collaborate.
Stop and collaborate.
Yeah.
And glisten.
Stop, collaborate, and listen. Ah, yes.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Oh god.
Oh, so I've got to get you need to get this one wrong, and then
Oh, you got
draw.
one more.
I got one more. Oh heck. Let me put them back in then.
Oh man. Okay. Drop it like it's hot.
Tropic.
Close. Drop it.
Stop it.
Close. Drop it like it's hot.
I'm having a Scooby.
These are
One more.
such weird names.
Drop
Drop.
it like it's
Drop it
hot.
and.
Drop it like it's hot.
Sorry, drop. One more time.
It like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot. Oh, yes.
Oh god.
Oh, so Sophie has to get this one right, otherwise I've won. Is there one?
Yep.
Yeah, I
There we
think
go.
so.
There is.
Right.
So if you want to pull it back and be joint victors, you've got to get this one right.
I got 2 right so far.
Yeah, I'm on 3.
Oh,
Oh, it's close.
Mark's got 1.
Hop. Hop. Skip. And go naked.
Snail.
Hop.
Pot. Hop.
Skip.
Tip. Hop tip.
No. Skip.
Prick.
Hop. Skip.
Skip.
Yeah.
Hop. 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 Skip.
And. And.
And.
Yeah. Go.
Go.
Yeah. Naked.
Hop. Skip and go.
Go naked.
What?
Naked.
Naked.
Yes. There you go.
Hop. Skip and go naked.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god. So the scores at the end of that very interesting game. 3 to me,
Yes.
3 to Sophie, and 1.5 to Mark.
So that was Read the Ramblers. Very successful and unsuccessful, very odd
Entertaining,
names.
to say the least.
And join us after the break for conspiracy theories.
Woo.
Right, welcome back to section 3 now of our Ramblers podcast, where we're going to be discussing conspiracy theories. So, do you guys believe in conspiracies? Do you?
Depends what the conspiracy theory is.
Yeah, very
Right.
much so.
There's some weird ones out there that are weirdly accurate, and then some that are just load of old tosh, really.
It's the way they all kind of they make you think. You're like,
It's the coincidences that do it
actually,
for me.
yeah. Which ones do you guys believe in?
There was one that I heard about on another podcast, and it was Michael Jackson and something to do with, I think it was with 9/11, and like he was meant to be there that day, but he called in ill in the morning, and then there was something with one of his album covers that was really weird. Like it sounds like a load of old waffle, but then you see it, and some of the things he said, it
makes you
quite creepy.
question it, doesn't it?
It's probably just him calling ill and he's made a weird album cover, but it was a bit weird. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I think the JFK assassination obviously is one that most people can agree there is something dodgy there. It wasn't just Lee Harvey Oswald shot him. There was something more going on.
I'd say that's similar with the Diana one as well.
Yeah.
So the main conspiracy theories we'll talk about, because I think with our democratisation of media theme, is the 5G and Huawei phones. If you actually know how to pronounce that, we'd appreciate it. So 5G, people believed that that's what caused COVID because of the radiation. How obscure is that?
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Yes, it's. I think it initially started circulating in sort of January 2020.
Yeah.
It was January, February time, I think.
Yeah, and I think it was based upon a misinterpretation of an old 70s science project. A guy looked at could radio waves affect bacteria.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's straight away you can see, well, there's
Where that's going to go.
stupidity involved because bacteria are very different from viruses.
Yeah.
So the base of what they're basing their idea on is a misinterpretation right from the beginning. Yeah, so I think it's one that to me is more obviously just nonsense.
Yeah, so you don't believe it?
No, there's just nothing there.
No, it's. I don't believe it's such, but it is a bit of a coincidence sometimes. I've got here that the first city the 5G mast was installed in was Wuhan, which obviously was the initial outbreak of COVID started. And they all believe that they're keeping them in lockdown to keep their... so they can secretly install all these 5G masts around the UK, which is just absurd. And they say when you have like 5G in your phone, supposedly it emits more radiation than, I don't know, 4G or something like that. But I think that one of the most interesting facts was that Bill Gates is to blame, apparently.
Ah, bloody Gates.
Yeah, it's another kind of crazy aspect. So I think this is the idea that Bill Gates was behind the vaccination program because he wanted to implant people with microchips, and the idea that he would be able to spy on everyone, which is ridiculous because a lot of the people that spread those sort of conspiracy theories are people that are quite happy to go and do those ridiculous kind of questionnaires where you decide what kind of Harry Potter character are you, which are completely designed to data mine exactly your kind of history online. So yeah, I think it is just utterly ridiculous. And I think Bill Gates, whatever people think of him, has spent a lot of his own money investing in medical research and science. And he has said for years that there would be a pandemic coming, and he is
so
therefore...
people are blaming him because he suspected it.
He's the one that suspected it.
Right.
Put a blame to a person, essentially.
Poor bloke, he gets blamed for everything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, there was actually a YouTuber who called Black the Ripper, who spoke the truth about 5G and the radiation and everything, and was found shortly dead after he did like this announcement. Rumours are that he was killed for knowing too much. What's your take on that?
Stuff like that happens all the time.
People
there's
die.
There's a high chance it's just a coincidence, or it could be that it's just someone that's seen the video. There's a lot of weird people, like someone that's just seen the video and thought, oh, he's just chatting a load of waffle and need to sort him out, essentially. It's horrible to say, but a lot of people are like that in the world, unfortunately.
So it's safe to say that none of us believe this conspiracy theory?
No, definitely not.
Do you see why people could?
No.
No?
No, not really. I mean, I always think any conspiracy theory, if it has to involve more than about between 20 and 50 people to plan and execute, then the chances of it happening without people knowing about it are so minimal that it very probably didn't happen.
Yeah, that's true.
And also you think, well, if this is such a brilliantly planned conspiracy, why does everyone know about it and everyone talking about it?
Yeah, because there's quite a few conspiracy theories that people... there's quite a few conspiracy theories that, like, quite quiet with the whole... Well, Area 51 isn't really a quiet one anymore, but it was to begin with. and not much people explore, what is it, the Bermuda Triangle? There was quite a few on that, but they all seem to have disappeared now, which is quite interesting. But that takes us nicely to the Huawei phone. Huawei phone conspiracy. So, which actually turned into, well, a fact, I suppose. So the Chinese were supposedly putting, hacking data into the phones to spy on the US government, and now the US government have banned all Huawei phones from no one in the government can use them. What do you think to that?
I think there's a bit more credibility to this one because it's well known that, for instance, the University of Beijing, since the sort of late 90s, had a very advanced hacking program, literally teaching students how to be hackers.
Oh, wow.
And they have been compiling information about other countries since then in a huge way. So I would say it's a bit more credible. And obviously, if it's technology that has been designed by the Chinese, with the Chinese government kind of as part of that, then I suppose it is a bit more suspicious.
I mean, I'd say, yeah, I'd agree with Mark on probably a bit more credibility. I'd say they've probably done it more as a precautionary thing to just ensure there's nothing there. But they wouldn't have done it if there wasn't.
I suppose it's too big of a risk to just leave it as a conspiracy.
Exactly.
If it was true, yeah.
I don't think they banned it because they definitely knew it. I think it was just, let's make sure as a precautionary thing that...
I think on a wider sort of note, I just assumed that sort of people in very top secret government positions wouldn't have kind of smartphones on them anyway.
No, actually, that's a good point.
I think no matter what the smartphone is, there's a possibility that some outside agency could hack that phone, and therefore then have access to secret government locations.
It's very easily done.
But it could be that they just, whenever they go somewhere that has to be secret, they have to ensure don't take
burner
it with
phones
them,
or whatever, don't they?
There's a high chance if they did, they'd probably get fired or sacked or something like that. So.
But I think overall, to just discuss conspiracy theories in general, the reason why they've certainly risen, and as an expert said with the 5G, these have always been around. The 5G conspiracy theories have always been around, but because of the kind of rise in social media, it's just allowed them to be thrown out there and a lot more people to interpret them. And that's because we are a democracy. UK's a democracy, so that's why conspiracy theories have kind of got out there because of that.
I think the ability for anyone to put that opinion onto a kind of YouTube platform, and for that opinion not to be questioned as you would question a lot of other things, I think has led to certain people having a massive presence online. So people like David Icke bought into the whole 5G conspiracy theory. And ended up getting banned from Facebook and banned from YouTube. And he'd come up with plenty of other weird conspiracy theories way before that, but it was those things that got him banned. So you can then kind of see where people that followed him might have thought, they banned him because he's now onto something that's real and all that kind of stuff.
They don't help themselves, do they? Because by banning them, they're like, maybe they told something that they shouldn't know, and then maybe half of the people have already seen that. So I do think that social media and the ability to just post whatever you want as long as you follow the application's guidelines is why all of this nonsense is out there, really.
Yeah, pretty much. If you have a following and you can literally say one thing, but if those people follow you and believe in what you say, then that's it. They'll believe it, tell other people, they'll believe them if they're good friends. It just spreads from there. Yeah.
Wow, perfect. That concludes our first episode of the Ramblers podcast. Thank you, Mark and
thank you
Charlie.
for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
been a pleasure.
Yes, it has been. Lovely. make sure to subscribe, guys,
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
We don't want to become one of those YouTubers, but we have to.
Yes, just try and get us out there, and do please follow us on Instagram and Spotify. That'd be lovely.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.